Hey, welcome back to Y&R Update. It's Paul. I want to jump into an interview done by Michael Logan. It was a two-part interview with Farren, Phelps and Chuck Pratt. With regards to the doppelganger storyline, they both said they hated the storyline. I mean, it's in the article. You can go see. They both hated the storyline. But the reason that Pratt gave for going ahead with the storyline is that he thought, mistakenly, and I'm going to say this, that the two characters, he called Jack a happy-go-lucky guy, and I think you don't know the character, because if you knew Jack and what he'd been through, I mean, the man was paralyzed, he went through trauma as a Vietnam vet, he had his wife cheat on him, he found out that the girl he thought was Nick's daughter was his daughter, and then a year later he found out that she wasn't his daughter. I mean, he's gone through so many trials and tribulations, and to slough it off as he's some happy-go-lucky guy, it means you don't know that character. It's really, I'm trying to wrap my head around that one. And then in terms of the doppelganger storyline, he thought that both Victor and Jack's characters were kind of boring. And what does that say to Phelps if he thinks that basically the two tent poles, the two leads of the show were boring? It just says, it undermines her, and it says that she doesn't know what she's doing because it was under her watch that they became, according to him, boring. So I don't even understand that. And you know what I mean? So what did you come up with? You came up with a doppelganger storyline, and if you had followed the show, you'd realize that recently, as recently as a year ago, Victor had brought the doppelganger for Cassie in Mariah into Genoa City. So now not only did you go with a doppelganger storyline, which is ridiculous, you went with one that was used by the same character. And I'm trying to think, does Victor have a bunch of doppelgangers stuck in his coat pocket or up his sleeve? Because it just seems to the viewers that you haven't done your homework if you're going to go back to this beat a dead horse. I mean, Catherine had a doppelganger, the Cassie Mariah one, it's been used, and it's been used to death. And even Farren Phelps says that in recent memory she can't remember the last time she used one of those and did not seem in favor of it. So, but they still went ahead with it, and even when they talked about what the staff thought about it, they said the staff didn't like it. The reaction wasn't great. Farren Phelps' reaction wasn't great, but still they went ahead with it. And who's paying for it? The viewers are paying for it. It means that you don't really care about what they think if you did go ahead with it. The other thing I have a huge problem with is that when asked about the African American storyline and why it seems to be angering fans and why he's backed off of it, his reaction to that and what he said, and he said a couple things. The one thing he said, budget is budget and money is money. So basically you're saying because of budget you're going to have to trim back the African American storyline. Well, as an African American, I really want to know, and so do a lot of the viewers want to know, that why was it the African American storyline that got trimmed? And if you don't think that smacks of racism the way that comes out, then you really, really aren't paying attention. You're basically saying money was an object, so you had to pare back the storyline. But it didn't stop you from having an inferno, which is, eats into a budget, which dropping a building on a bunch of people, which eats into a budget, and crashing a plane with the same African American that you're saying you can't afford in the storyline. I guess, the African Americans should have gotten off the plane if they knew that budget was going to really cut their paychecks, because that's what you're saying. Now, I tried to look at this, and so have a lot of people from a lot of other ways, but the way it's coming off is that the African American cast falls to the bottom of your list of priorities. And it's funny, I remember looking at a Wikipedia page on the Y&R, and it was Bill Bell that came out and said that he was really proud of introducing the African American storyline. And what it did do is it brought a lot of African Americans, to the show, and it was something that he's proud of. And you really seem to have no regard for that, and you seem to be wanting to chase African Americans away from the show. And it's funny, I went back 2 days later, and that part of the post was gone, and I found that really weird.